Former Seattle Seahawk says someday he will walk again. That's what Mike FRIER told KOMO's Farland Chang in an exclusive interview. We first brought you part of that interview 2 weeks ago. Tonight, for the first time, we see FRIER going through rehabilitation and how difficult it will be for him to fulfill his hopes and dreams.
What came easy for Mike FRIER before does not come easy now. A man who once crushed quarterbacks now needs help to get into bed. Mike FRIER broke his neck 5 months ago. Doctors say it's unlikely he will ever walk again, but the 25-year-old former lineman would disagree.
I mean, I want to be independent, you know. I don't want to depend on my dad all the rest of my life, you know.
After struggling to get up, FRIER goes vertical. He must exercise his muscles, strengthen his bones, and circulate the blood in his lower body. His neck is deeply scarred from the surgery to his spinal cord. To some extent, FRIER can move his arms and upper body, but he needs help moving his fingers. Therapists must open his hands so he can use his workout machine. FRIER's arms can pedal on behalf of his legs, but after just 1 minute, that proves tiring.
You finished? Need some more?
FRIER likes to play around. Sometimes he uses his motorized wheelchair for pranks, but his humor helps him survive.
There you go. Pop it.
Cruising down the hallway.
A man who once lifted hundreds of pounds now struggles to lift less than 100. Again, after less than 1 minute, he is tired, but he refuses to give up.
I believe in miracles. You know, if I walk again, that's a miracle. You know, I proved to everybody that who said I couldn't walk, and I proved to myself that because I know I can walk. You know, it's gonna take me some time, but I'm gonna get there.
Mike FRIER knows he is in the toughest game of his life, and he is praying he can win. Farland Chang, KOMO News 4.
Accidents like that can sometimes happen because kids don't have a safe place away from home to have fun.
However, in Tacoma, some young people have ventured on a special odyssey designed to help kids while cracking down on crime. In fact, it's called the Odyssey, and KOMO's Farland Chang got to go along.
Sailing's the best part of this boat. You gotta be careful which way the pin goes in, or it'll get twisted and stuck up there. 6 inches. Good.
The word Odyssey comes from Greek mythology. It refers to a long series of adventures. The adventure for Ron Landberg is learning how to sail. He comes out here to the Tacoma waterfront once a week. In the process, he learns about a whole new world.
There's nothing like it in the world that's like this boat, and it's the best opportunity I've had.
Now, the reason that we tie this on is in case somebody falls overboard.
Dick Clayton became a volunteer skipper after retiring from IBM. He says he can trust these young people with his life.
To me, it's a love of kids as well as anything. And the more kids we have that can go through a program like this, the better off we adults are.
I need you to report to your crews.
This week, Becky Forster is in charge of the vessel. Becky says it's hard to find this much fun anywhere for just $24 a year, and this sure beats sitting around at home.
Get something to do other than being out in the streets. It's just hopefully to have fun. That way you don't get mixed up in anything.
The Boy Scouts purchased the Odyssey in 1978 from the U.S. Navy when it was in pretty bad shape. So they fixed it up, and since then it's become one of the only sailboats in America operated and maintained mostly by young people. Anyone between the ages of 14 and 21 can join. Josh Nelson joined after having trouble in high school.
I didn't like my teachers. In fact, I used to yell at them, but, you know.
How has this all changed that?
Well, you can't yell at the teachers on this boat. You get your head bit off.
I have a charter from 1300 to 1700. Saturday the 11th.
The idea here is that young people often learn better from their own peers, especially when they need each other to get the job done. That job includes offering charter tours and even rescuing boats in distress.
It gives you a good feeling you're out there helping other people.
Josh Nelson plans to join the Coast Guard someday. And Becky Forster, she hopes to skipper a tugboat or maybe a ferry.
There's a lot of people with smaller boats who don't know what they're doing with them, and just being able to get something done looking nice gives you a lot of confidence.
For Becky and Josh and all the others, the Odyssey is indeed an adventure. It's a place to learn, a place to make friends, and most of all, a place to dream.
Best part of Puget Sound is sailing.
In Tacoma, Farland Chang, KOMO News 4.
All three of the boys are at Harborview Medical Center, as is KOMO's Farland Chang. Farland, what happened out there?
Dan and Margot, the three boys are between the ages of 8 and 12. Three boys lighting a can of spray paint and using it as a torch. But that game tonight has left two of the boys in critical condition, one of them in satisfactory. They suffered burns to their faces, to their chests, and to their arms. It all happened after their game of fire exploded like a bomb.
This peaceful residential neighborhood just outside Federal Way suddenly erupts tonight into a gruesome emergency scene. 3 children are burned after an explosion next to Green Gables Elementary School.
The boys, they were just so badly burnt. I've never seen anything like it, so.
And they were screaming?
Yeah, they were screaming, help me, help me. So we knew then when we heard that they were obviously hurt.
This boy sees the awful aftermath of 3 young boys playing with a can of aerosol spray and a cigarette lighter. That's a combination a lot like a flamethrower.
What they don't realize is that aerosol cans, when they're heated up or if the fire comes back into the can explode while they're holding it, and they become, in effect, bombs.
I feel really sad because I knew them, and I was crying.
2 helicopters rushed the children to Harborview Medical Center's burn unit. The boys suffered burns on up to 20% of their bodies.
I just hope that the kids in the neighborhood, unfortunately, have learned a lesson from this. Do not play with matches, candles, aerosol cans, because this is what the result can be.
Again, 2 of the boys in critical condition, 1 in satisfactory. We also know that 2 of the boys are brothers. Their families are with them now inside praying for the best. Dan and Margot.
Farland, are these kind of games pretty common?
Margot, firefighters say these games are all too common. I recall even when I was a kid, I saw a lot of other kids playing the same kinds of games. We all know now how clearly and how terribly these games can end.
Yeah, terribly dangerous. Thanks, Farland.
You're watching KOMO TV4 in Seattle. Now, KOMO News 4.
Good evening, everyone. The largest group of men ever at the Kingdome has gone home for the night, but they'll return tomorrow.
The event is called Promise Keepers. KOMO's Farland Chang was there. Farland, what's their mission?
Dan, they say their mission is to unite men, all men, in order to become, in their words, godly influences in their world. Now, a football coach started this idea 5 years ago, and since then it has become a national movement.
They came to the Kingdome from all over the Northwest, not to watch a sports game. They came to change their ways.
I was selfish, I was couch potato, I was very uncommitted to my family life, I was very uncommitted to my spiritual life. I was committed to nothing but me.
They say they are reaching out to the Lord so they can become better husbands, fathers, and leaders. This Christian ministry was part pep rally, part musical concert. There has been little advertising. There has been a lot of word of mouth spread through the churches. There has also been some controversy in other cities. Some women's groups say the event promotes the superiority of men in the household. But the founder, a former college football coach, says women should view this event as helping men become better.
They're starting to become the kind of men that you always wanted when you married that guy. That's the message.
Have you in our souls, oh God.
The event is filled with religious speakers. It is part sermon and part Bible study.
It's turning the hearts of men back towards their families, where you see in this nation so many men just falling away from their marriages and their wives and their children.
I just feel good about myself, I feel good about my family, and I'm proud to be a Christian.
Doug DOOLIN says this same event recently held in Portland saved his marriage. And he says it all started when he was asked to come forward to accept the Lord into his life.
Lord.
mercy now on me. Forgive me, oh Lord, forgive me.
By the end of the year, there will have been 13 of these events throughout the country. It costs $55 to attend. Most of the events have been sold out.
Yeah, really quite a crowd they had there. And this goes on all weekend, right?
It does go on tomorrow until 10 o'clock.
Yeah, are they involved in politics? Is this a political group at all?
Margot, they say they are not. The organizers say they don't want politics to detract from their mission of helping men become better.
Okay, thanks, Farland.
Now, KOMO News 4.
The first thing people are saying is, where's the party?
Good evening. O'Grady's family is preparing for a big party to welcome home their hero.
Captain Scott O'Grady is safe tonight after a daring rescue in Bosnia. KOMO's Farland Chang spoke to O'Grady's mother tonight, and Farland, there must be a great celebration in the works.
Margot and Dan, the place for the party is still unknown, but the whole family wants to be invited. Now, Scott O'Grady has 6 uncles, 2 aunts, and 21 cousins all over the country. So many that I even know one from when I lived on the East Coast. Now, for the family, tonight's jubilation comes after 6 days of fearing the very worst.
Scott O'Grady's sister, father, and brother spoke on ABC's Nightline tonight about the moment when they first heard O'Grady had been shot down. Bill O'Grady needed space, so he asked the Army ministers to leave the room.
So they